the insights that help us. Lonnie and friends, we're vibing strong, bringing truth to the game where we all belong. So dull discussions, hear the passion ignite. In the world of sports, we're ready to.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lonnie and Friends. I'm Lonnie Washington. I'm here with my good friend Tony Robinson. I'm in sunny Arizona, and Tony is in Texas. So, hope everybody's doing well. And we just want to get on here again. We're going to be talking about some NFL today. You know, whether your team drafted the right player for the future, or whatever you think that your team did. And we're going to be talking first about kind of like a little bit about our teams today. You know, of course, Tony Robinson, he loves his Cleveland Browns. I thought they had a pretty good draft, actually, a really good draft. And I think he's giddy. I mean, he was texting me throughout the draft, and he was just going crazy. What's up, Tony? What's going on?
I'm happy.
It's good. It's good. I mean, yeah.
I can't even explain it. Ready to go. Ready to go.
Yeah, I think that overall that the draft was pretty interesting. A lot of things happened, early on that kind of determined whether or not my Commanders, got their pick. And the way kind of things fell, Tony's team really helped my team out too. It's okay because he got his players that he wanted to get to. So, if it all works out, hopefully your team got what they wanted to. First of all, Tony, we're going to start with you today because I know that you've just been chomping at the bit to kind of talk a little bit about what your Browns was able to do and address some of their needs. I know last week we were talking about the things that you guys are going to be doing, whether it's offensive line, whether it was wide receivers or anything else. And because you guys didn't feel you guys had a need in this draft on defense, in early rounds of any of those, 5 studs from Ohio State, you guys decided that you guys wanted to trade out. So at the end of the day, Tony, I'm going to give it over to you. The Cleveland Browns, they take Fano. They move back to number 9 to get Fano, and then they let the Kansas City Chiefs come up in front of the Washington Commanders to grab a cornerback that they thought we might be getting. And so, we were thrilled to get Sonny Styles there, and the Chiefs come up and get their cornerback. So going to what you thought and how this draft turned out and how you guys was able to move back and what you think went into you guys moving back instead of staying at number 6.
Well, I feel like once Tate went off the board, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they wanted Tate. Maybe not, but I feel like they wanted Tate. When Tate was off the board, they went back because they knew Fano was still going to be there, a few picks behind. And they were still able to get, their second pick that they want to get, the left tackle and everything like that. But then they also was able to go back and get Concepcion at 24, which started the whole like avalanche of like great picks that they Andrew Berry did and stuff like that, because we went and got Boston out of Washington as well. I wanted them to double tap the wide receiver spot in the first round, but I think with Tate, I don't know if they would have did it because they probably took Tate and then a tackle at the 24 spot. But I got my double tap after that left tackle spot was solidified and everything, so I was happy about that. And then it just got better from there. We did get some defensive players. We got Justin Jefferson, not the Justin Jefferson from the Minnesota Vikings. He's the Justin Jefferson, the defensive end. And we got a safety from Toledo that I'm really raving about. I think he's going to be really good. He's a 6'3", runs at like a 4.4 40 and stuff like that. He's a ball hawk too.
Emmanuel McNeil Warren, out of Toledo.
Even though we didn't get the guy that I wanted from Ohio State, I don't think we really needed him at that position. I think we needed it. The main reason for this draft was to solidify our offense, because our offense was the worst in the last 5 years. So we haven't. That was our main focus. Defense has always been there, led by Myles Garrett and everything like that. That defense is already solidified. We just got to get our offense going, and I think that's the main reason why they went strictly or predominantly offense in this draft. So.
Yeah, I think looking at the Cleveland Browns, obviously they jumped out of the number one that number 6 spot, and they allowed the Commanders to get Sonny Styles, which I was ecstatic of. But the Browns just felt that they just couldn't get um, that they just didn't really need a lot of defensive help in the early rounds. But you can't have enough studs on defense, I think, in the NFL. But obviously, you guys went Fano, which is a safe pick. I thought, at number 9 he was the number 1 ranked lineman, I believe. And he can play either position, either guard or tackle, right? And then you guys, you go and get KC Concepcion. A lot of people have some concerns with him because of the drop passes he had last year. Had 7 drop passes last season. But he got a nose for the end zone. 25 career touchdowns. He averaged 15.1 yards a catch last season. I thought they were going to get Denzel Boston ahead of him, and I got the feeling that you thought Boston was probably going to go ahead of KC Concepcion too. But man, you got you got Boston that was sitting there in the second round, which was amazing because I thought he was a first round guy. But man, you got 2 good players, size wise, to really help you guys to go along with, all the drops the Cleveland Browns had last year. And so I kind of like you guys' draft. I mean, I really must say that I was really impressed about what the Browns did in this year's draft. And, getting some guys on defense, in the later rounds too, like you said, kind of are really going to help you out at safety. And so overall, I think you guys had a good draft. I think a lot of the people that, you're looking at the draft analysts, I think I think you guys get like a solid A by getting extra picks, right? Mm-hmm. And then by getting the right people that I think that you need. Now, the big controversy is this, the big controversy is this. I mean, you go out there and now you get, a quarterback. Okay, so we know the Browns over the last, years, many years, okay, has had problems at quarterback. And so now we were talking about, Shedeur Sanders and Watson. We were talking about Shedeur Sanders and Watson. And then all you guys did was go and pile on to this, right? I mean, it's you're saying we're going to make our team better, but you got Watson and you've got Shedeur Sanders going to battle out for the number 1 spot. We know Gabriel, based on what we probably see now after the draft, he's probably going to be cut or traded. I don't think he makes this team. I don't even think he gets put on the practice squad. To be honest with you, you guys go out and get Taylor Green, 6'6" guy, man, and 4'3" guy actually at quarterback. And he can throw the ball. He can run the ball. Very dynamic a player at Taylor Green from Arkansas. And you guys just go and just add to this, And Todd Monken, remember who he coached? He coached Lamar Jackson, right? And so now you go and get this guy, and all of a sudden, you throw this guy in the mix at quarterback. And I hope the Cleveland Browns don't do anything but play him at quarterback. I hope he does not play wide receiver, and you guys try to convert him into wide receiver. Because, Tony, I remember you saying that you thought he was a wide receiver at first, but then I said quarterback, and he's like, oh, yeah, this guy's sick at quarterback.
Yeah, it was because of when I saw the combine, when he ran his 40 time, I didn't look at the position. I just saw him run. I was like, whoa, he looks like a pure running, like a receiver. And that's what I see. But, he said he's not going to play nothing but quarterback and stuff like that. But the way I see it happening, if he wants to get on the field this year, I say he's going to be doing goal line stuff. He's going to do some trick plays with the run game and stuff like that. And he might line up at wide receiver. I mean, they say this in the draft process and stuff like that. But once you get on a team and you want to help a team win, you're going to do all you can, especially to get on the field, Yeah. And that's the way I look at it. If I was a quarterback, coming into the league, I mean, who am I? He's living it, but I'm just saying, like, if you want to help the team win, play where they need you. But at the same time, you got drafted to be a quarterback. I get that. And I feel like in a Monken offense, this dude is prime, like what he wants. He's Lamar Jackson 2.0 or 3.0, however you want to say it. But I just it's a hard piece because you got
it ain't hard, man. Don't stumble down.
Hold on. You got Shedeur. You got Shedeur there. and we're ready to take that leap with him, and then you draft this guy. The first thing I said was like, okay, Dylan Gabriel, you're gone. You traded or you're cut. That solidifies everything. So we got 3 guys going into the training camp. Just get the headache. Go to Atlanta. Go with Coach Stefanski and stuff like that, and go be with your boy. This is what we want right now. This is the competition. It's going to bring a great competition to the quarterback room. I feel because it's going to push Shedeur to be even better because you got this other guy. Knowing that Monken likes running quarterbacks, he's sitting there in a wings like, okay, I'm gonna be ready soon. You better get your stuff together, pretty much. So
yeah, I mean, I go back to what we had a conversation yesterday, you know, in our kind of pre-podcast meeting yesterday, and I go back and I'll say this, when I started to look at what Shedeur Sanders did last year, you know, he was just okay. You know, he was not. He looked like a 5th round pick last year, and a lot of people say, well, he looked like a 5th round pick. Had he went number 1 last season, you said the dynamics would have changed, and he probably would have got to start a little bit earlier, and he would have. But I think that based off what we saw in 7 games at 3 and 4, we talked about, you know, whether he was better than Tyler Shook last year, and I don't think he was, right. I think Tyler Shook was clearly came on as the rookie, you know. But I also thought that, you know, you have a 5th round guy, and then you have Watson, right? And I think that with the weapons that you guys now have, you know, you got these dynamic playmakers now. You know, you've got, you know, Taylor Green that can come in and kind of do a little bit of, you know, wide receiver in the slot. He can go in motion, get the ball, pitch, throw the ball, however you want to do that. So now you've got all these different pieces now, and you guys haven't improved your wide receivers. And so do you want to give Shedeur Sanders, a 2nd-year guy, that opportunity to work with those new weapons? Or do you want to get a polished quarterback that's now healthy in Deshaun Watson that you paid almost $250 million to, that opportunity to work with those weapons? Because at the end of the day, you know, you have veterans on that team, and the main goal is to win. So when I look at this whole thing with the quarterbacks, and, you know, Taylor Green, he's probably just another piece just in case Watson doesn't work out this year. But I have to give Watson the keys to this team to start out, because I think that if Watson starts and he doesn't do well, now you just throw Watson out, you know, and you put Shedeur in, and it's not an issue, right? And you know, Shedeur might be your quarterback going on, and if he's not the quarterback, then you can go to, you know, to Taylor Green. But I think if you start out with Shedeur Sanders, and Shedeur Sanders doesn't do well the first 4 or 5 games, and you've got some more losses than wins, and then you put Watson in, then does that derail Sanders' career with the Cleveland Browns? That you guys now know that he's not it with us? So I'm kind of like in a dynamic where, with all the new weapons, rebuilding the line, and these new weapons you got at wide receiver, you know, I'm thinking, you know what, Watson, he's probably the best guy to run this team initially. And then if he doesn't do well, I think now you go to Shedeur Sanders. But I don't really think that Shedeur Sanders will beat Watson out. When it's all said and done at the beginning of the year, I don't think Shedeur Sanders will beat Watson out.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Watson that's has a lot of experience in the NFL and had a lot of success in the NFL with Houston. And the way I look at it is that he's been out of the loop for like a couple years, a year or so, and stuff like that. So I don't having somebody come back after 2 torn Achilles. And with what the trajectory that we're trying to get from Shedeur Sanders to go into the next season, giving him a full off season to work out and get to learn this new offense and stuff like that, to go along with Watson. Watson, you know, is learning a new offense too. So I feel like Watson might have an edge there. But at the same time, it's like we're trying to ride that high, even though you say that he didn't play good. I mean, he didn't play great, obviously, as a rookie quarterback that didn't get time until like 10 games into the season. The season was already, the veterans already like mailing the season in because they were losing. Nobody was really playing hard until, you know, he started getting some wins, I guess. But But it was too late. So I just feel like that's the reason why he went 3-4. If he had played at the beginning of the season, which he should have, because he should have been drafted in the first round or the second round, because it's, this guy that got drafted this year didn't have the stats that he did last year. So your boy from the Rams, I don't know how he got it.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Don't
jump the gun. Don't say anything. I'm saying to you, Seth. Look, yeah. But see, you don't try to jump the gun, but I want to come back because I want to get you on record right now. I'm going to get you on record right now, my friend. Who will start the season for the Cleveland Browns? Now, I know we're just around the 1st of May right now, okay? We're 1st of May and everything. A lot of things can happen during camp and all those different things, injuries, whatever it may be. But right now, based off of the draft is over, we're going into camp in a couple of months, and then the season will be upon us in just a little bit over 4.5 months. Who do you think right now will win that starting job at quarterback going into the season for the Cleveland Browns? Now that you've got these 3 quarterbacks, including Taylor Green.
Well, I got Shedeur. I mean, that's who I'm going to hang my hat on, only because of what he like I said, we want to move forward with that trajectory. Like, I feel like every time Watson comes back, we have to go back to him every single time. When you draft a quarterback like Shedeur, for the future, you can't keep going back and forth. It's like either pick your quarterback or not. Like, you got to move forward, and then you draft another quarterback in the draft. So it's like Watson is a great backup. He can be a great backup if because he was teaching. He was showing Shedeur the ropes when he came back from the injury and stuff like that. When he was eligible to come back, he was on the sideline showing Shedeur what to do and stuff like that. And I don't know. Maybe a trade comes out of this. I don't know. Nobody want to take that trade on to take Watson, but
no, not yet.
But I don't know. I got Shedeur. Who do you have?
I have Watson. I think it has to be Watson. I think there, like I said last week, I think there's a faction within the Cleveland Browns ownership that they have to see what they're getting out of these new weapons. All right, a revamped offensive line, this really good defense, and I think you got to go with a player that you had a lot of faith in 3 or 4 years ago. Now he's coming back 100% healthy, and even looking at the drills that he came in OTAs last week, looking at the drills and all the reports that were out there, we saw people saying, "Wow." Watson looked very crisp, just the fakes, everything, throwing the ball down the field, all this stuff. I heard Shedeur had some little interceptions here and there, but you got to go with that guy. You got to go with the guy that you paid. You got to see if he still got something.
But we've seen this story before. Like I've been a 46-year Browns fan. I say this all the time. I'm a 46-year veteran Browns fan. I've seen this video before. I've seen this before with this guy. He'll show the highlights and oh, he looks good when nobody's coming after him. But then when he gets, I love Watson. When he was at Houston,
when he's on his point, he's dynamite.
When he's on, I think that the whole situation just threw him off. I'm like, because when he was in Houston, he was the man. I wanted him. When we got him, I was so happy that we finally went after a quarterback that was a good quarterback. And because we haven't had it, even with Bernie Kosar was
wrong offense though, right? Wrong offense.
Yeah. So it was because of Stefanski's offense, and Watson actually tweeted something when somebody was talking bad about Stefanski's offense. He actually stepped in and commented on it and did a thumbs up or something like that, whatever he did. So I know it's not all him, but that's why I feel like in this new offense he can probably get back to the Houston Watson maybe, but I just worry about the injury history. That's what I worry about.
Well, I think he's had some time away from the game to look at more film, right? He's going to be learning the offense and learning the same offense that Shedeur Sanders at the same time as Shedeur Sanders, and he might actually have a little bit more insight into Monken's offense than Shedeur Sanders because he played in a similar type of offense when he was in Houston. That's what made him dynamite. So, and then with Monken being able to work with, a 2-time MVP and Lamar Jackson, he's going to kind of know how to call plays and stuff with a dynamic player because he had one. And now you get this Taylor Green dude that could be Lamar Jackson 2.0, bigger, faster. I don't know about fast, but he's just as fast as probably Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson probably runs a 4.4, but this guy runs a 4.3, and he's a long strider because he's 6'6". All right, and so now Monken gets his guy. He says, you know what? Both of these guys, Shedeur Sanders and Watson, are previous picks. I didn't have nothing to do with them, but I'm gonna get me a guy that I want. So I think this is Monken's choice, right? They say, hey, go get your quarterback. This the guy you want, boom, because there was a lot of other guys they could have took ahead of him, right? Yeah. But he didn't. He got a Lamar Jackson type of quarterback, and I think Monken is saying, if none of these two other guys work out, meaning Watson and Shedeur Sanders, I got my guy. I'm gonna throw him in there, right? And we're gonna see what happened with that. So I like the draft. I give Cleveland an A+, not an A+, probably an A minus on this draft, but they did well. And a lot of people are saying that this is an historic draft for the Cleveland Browns. And I said, whoa.
Back to back.
Yeah, if it's historic, I expect big things from the Cleveland Browns if it's historic. And I expect you, but I don't think you guys get into the playoffs unless Watson plays a majority of the games. And that's what I'm saying to you guys. If you guys don't play Watson at all, I don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to get you guys into the playoffs, even with the new picks that you guys are going to bring in. I think Watson's the guy. If he stays healthy, he puts you guys in the playoffs.
I think with the protection that Shedeur has, we can get there with him. That's mine.
All right. Well, we're going to turn the page a little bit here. We're going to talk about the Arizona Cardinals and what they did to change kind of like the trajectory of the whole draft and the dynamic of the whole draft, because, the Arizona Cardinals, they have a lot of different needs. And a lot of people said, Jeremiah Love is probably the number one prospect in this draft, even though he's a running back. And a lot of people said, well, the Cardinals don't really need a running back. Well, Cardinals need a lot of good players, but they start off with this new regime with LaFleur at the new coach there. And with the kind of like the uncertainty of everything else, they go number 3, Jeremiah Love. I love the pick, by the way, because now you've got you got to sell tickets. And one of the things that we have here in Arizona is a problem with selling tickets to the home team. Arizona Cardinals will sell a lot of tickets to the opposing team. So when you get into the stadium, sometimes you don't know the difference between the home team and the away team, because they sell so many tickets to the away team, and everybody that plays the Cardinals, their fans descend on Arizona Cardinals home turf. And so I think with Jeremiah Love, you get a dynamic player, one of the best players in the draft, if not the best player in the draft, and he can take it anytime he gets the ball is going to be electric. Okay, so now you got everybody wanting to come to see him. I know I'm going to be at the game because they play the Commanders this year, so I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in the place, right? And then they go and they get Carson Beck in the 3rd round, right? And I had kind of was saying this to a couple of people, before the draft. My father, he was asking about the draft and what the Cardinals should do, and I says, well, I think the best thing they can do is they get Love and they get Beck. I think now you got 2 pieces that you really, really need. And a lot of people say, what about Jacoby Brissett? Well, Jacoby Brissett was really good last year, but they're only paying him $5.5 million. All right. And Jacoby Brissett is saying, wait a minute, if you want me to come in and be a starter, I need more than $5.5 million, which I don't blame him. You got to pay him if you want him to be the starter, or you want him to mentor Carson Beck until he's ready. You got to give the man at least $15 million. He deserves a raise because of how he played last year. And now you got Kyler Murray, who's in Minnesota, that you're still paying $37 million to, and he's not even on the team. All right. He's not even on the team. So I think now you got, Carson Beck, which I think, he did 6 years. He was in college till 2020. Since 2020, now he's out there. I mean, he's a national championship guy. The guy's 6'5", 230, big arm. He spent some time with Gruden, just after the, before the draft, getting that 2 list from a really good coach that does well with quarterbacks. And now you got Jeremiah Love and you got Carson Beck. And now I think you can start to build with them. And I think Carson Beck will, if he's not the day 1 starter, I think he starts at some point next season. And now you start to get the building blocks for a pretty good team. A lot of the Cardinals fans say, oh, Carson Beck, we don't like him. That was a horrible pick. But I think you're going to find out that with LaFleur now there, the brother, of the Green Bay Packers, there, and he comes from the tree, and with the Rams, he's going to make Carson Beck really a better quarterback just because of his coaching style and how he treats the quarterback.
Yeah, I think. Well, to recap, yeah, I feel like Brissett needs to get more money because he played really well last year. From a fantasy standpoint, he helped me out a couple times and stuff like that.
$5.5 million for Brissett.
Yeah, he needs more money. But I mean, it's hard because when you let your franchise quarterback go to Minnesota, it's like, you know, it's kind of, I don't know. You say the Browns are, you know, dysfunctional with the quarterback room and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
this is kind of dysfunctional to me because you let your, I mean, even though they say he didn't do film and stuff like that, and that's a part of the reason why they let him go or whatever. But it's just, I don't know. I think Brissett has to get paid, and I think he should be the quarterback for the next 2 years, 1 or 2 years, possibly. Because I don't think Beck is going to be ready. Because I feel
I think he's ready.
I've seen Beck play from Georgia all the way to when he played for Miami, and I don't know.
The guy has 6 years. The guy has 6 years of college football. So I mean, he's a national championship. I mean, you know, and so I think he's ready. I think he's more pro ready than even Mendoza. To be honest with you, I think he's more pro ready than a Todd Simpson. I think he's more ready than a Taylor Lane. I think he's more ready than a lot of the guys that was picked this year in the draft. And I think if you got a guy that you pick in the 3rd round, number 1 overall in the 3rd round, I think you got to play him possibly because Jacoby Brissett is going to cost you. Let's just say they're paying $37 million to a guy that's not there, Kyler Murray, and now you got $5 million to Jacoby Brissett, but he wants more money. So how much money do you want to put into the quarterback position or play the rookie that is playing on a rookie deal?
Well, I'm coming from the standpoint because you always say, talking about Shador, right? You always say, oh, it was a defense that won those games, right? So when you look at Georgia, when he won those championships, those national championships or whatever, you got to look at the pieces around him. The defense was spectacular. He had running game, receivers, everybody around him. There's times that he didn't do what he's supposed to do, but it was a defense that got the ball back or like whatever. So that's what we're kind of like giving him that pedigree, but he didn't really do a lot.
He was projected at one point before his injury of being a 1st round pick. Carson Beck was projected at one point of being even a late 1st round pick
because he won a national championship. That's
well,
what
I
mean, but it wasn't all him. Is what I'm trying to say. So
I think he's only lost in the 6 years that he's been in college. I think he's only lost personally maybe 6 games total.
Yeah,
6-7 games total.
He went to good teams with good defenses. That's what it is. I mean, you
still got to play the position though.
But yeah, I get it. But just like you said about Shador, because he has a Cleveland defense, you say, oh, y'all won those games because of the defense. But it's the same concept. It's the same thing. So, but I wanted to talk about Love though, because right after we posted our last podcast, I put some stuff on YouTube and everything. And this guy, I think he was a Notre Dame fan and stuff like that. And he was like, do you know Jadarian Price is better than Love, right? And I was like, oh, I didn't watch Jadarian Price. It was all about Love. Everybody talk about Love, right? But they say Jadarian Price might have a better career than Love. So I don't know what you think about that, because I seen his tape and he runs like Nick Chubb to me. How he runs like really big and like strong and everything. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, Jadarian Price is a good player. I mean, I think he went to Seattle, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Seahawks got him. And you know, the Seahawks needed him. And I think that, you know, he's a type of back that will go in and do very, very well behind that Seattle offensive line. I think he'll do very well. And he'll make a lot of plays. And I don't know if he's better than Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love has a higher ceiling, and he's probably more pro ready. But you know, the 2nd string guy, you know, he's still a really good player. But at the end of the day, I think that Jeremiah Love is definitely better than Jadarian Price. And we can go back and forth on who's going to be a better pro. Yeah. But I think it all comes down to offensive line. But I think that there's so much upside to Jeremiah Love, catching the ball out of the backfield, running the ball, the home run hitting capabilities that you get with Jeremiah Love. And if you put a linebacker on him that's not quick, he can outrun that linebacker.
Yeah. Well, he was pretty much saying it from the standpoint they were like 1A and 1B. It wasn't how they making it seem like Love was the only best running back because he was the second ranked running back like we talked about last week. So, but yeah, I just wanted
Yeah,
to see
it's
about that.
possible. I mean, it's all possible that he has a better career. But Jeremiah Love is going to come in. He's ready to play, and he's going to go out there and he's going to make some big time plays. And and if you're comparing him to a Saquon Barkley or McCaffrey, and he actually plays like that on the NFL level, then I think that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be okay with that pick. They're not going to worry about what Jadarian Price is going to be doing in Seattle. But
Yeah.
they're in the same division, so I'll have a front row seat of looking at them because those games come on late. So I'll be watching those games all the time, and we'll get to see how both those careers pan out. You guys got to remember too that the NFL draft, it's all these guys that go number 1 and top 10. Some of those guys don't pan out. It'd be those guys that you get in the 3rd and 4th, 5th round that are hungry. Right, that's got to scratch and claw for that second contract, and that haven't made a lot of money in those middle rounds that go out and go off for these teams, and then they'll end up getting these big contracts down at the end. So you get a lot of value in the 3rd round from the 3rd to 5th round, and being rounds 3, 4, and 5. And so sometimes these number 1 overall picks don't pan out. It's because they go into bad teams sometime. Because you were able to pick early, so now you go into a bad team, and so that team don't know how to use you, or it's bad coaching, or whatever it may be, and so you got a lot of pressure on you. So, yeah, I think the Cardinals did really well with these 2 picks, and I'm here. I'll see exactly how they fare. I saw the Washington Commanders. Of course, we talked a little bit earlier about this. The Washington Commanders get Sonny Styles. It falls to the Commanders at number 7, which, a lot of people thought that, Reese, people knew that Bailey was going to probably go number 2, which he did. They know that Reese and Sonny Styles were kind of neck and neck, really. A lot of people thought Reese was more pro ready. Sonny Styles, though, man, he is a machine. If you look at his workout tape and everything that he's able to do, I think that we were ecstatic because as soon as the trade came from the Cleveland Browns, the Chiefs came up and they got the cornerback. We didn't even wait 30 seconds before we already put that. We got 8 minutes on the clock. We didn't even wait 30 seconds before we put that in for Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles went for a 30 player visit to the Commanders, a week before the draft. He really gelled with, Dan Quinn and staff there. Before the draft, Sonny Styles said that he thought he was going to be a Commander. He predicted it. It's on tape that he said he thought he was going to be a Commander. And sure enough, when he came to us, I think the Commanders had 3 choices. I think the Commanders said, we're going to move back if Tate's not there, if Love's not there, and if Sonny Styles is not there, we're willing to move out of that 7th spot, right? Because we think we can do like Cleveland did, move back a couple of spots, still get our cornerback, right? But the way everything fell, and I think that Tate kind of going to the Tennessee Titans threw everything off, and that allowed us, because Tate wasn't supposed to be there he was still supposed to be there at 6 or 7. And I think Cleveland Browns, to what you were saying, they moved back because they was going to go for Tate, you believe, right? Mm-hmm. And if you guys didn't get if Sonny Styles wasn't there and Jeremiah Love wasn't there and Tate was sitting there, we would have probably taken Tate, right? Because we like Tate too. And so, I think that, getting Sonny Styles for the Commanders is a position of need. They got Leo Chanel during the offseason, the former linebacker of the Kansas City Chiefs. They add speed. They have Javion Cason from the New England Patriots in the offseason. He can play a 3-4 position. He can come off the edge. Sonny Styles, he can play. He's a true green dot guy that will definitely play a lot in this defense. And you know what? You're not really outrunning this guy. Sideline to sideline, he is as fast and big as, got a guy 6'5" running 4.45.
That's what we breathe over there.
Buckeyes,
that's what we breathe.
I'm starting to like the Ohio State Buckeyes because we got Terry McLaurin from Ohio State. We now got Sonny Styles from Ohio State. I'm starting to like the Ohio State Buckeyes because they put out great talent and their wide receivers are just crushing it in the NFL.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I thank you for that. But let's see him play first. Let's see him play in a uniform first. Let's see how he does. And remember, all the things that we're talking about, we don't know how these drafts are going to work out probably until a couple of years down the road. Some of them will make an immediate impact, but I think for us, for the Commanders team to get a Sonny Styles at 7, and we didn't have a lot of draft picks, right? To get him at number 7 is a big win for us. And so I'm really liking I'm really liking the draft that we had. I think that we still need some players at wide receiver. We bought a couple of free agent guys, undrafted free agents at wide receivers, and things, And I think we need some taller guys at wide receiver, not necessarily these shorter Swiss Army top slot guys. I think we need some people to stretch the field. So I think we're going to be after another wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk. Okay, so when we start talking about Commanders, we start talking about Brandon Ayuk because everybody knows that Brandon Ayuk is good friends with Jaden Daniels, and it's well documented how the San Francisco 49ers have and had the falling out with Brandon Ayuk, and now the 49ers are saying, John Lynch has said, okay, guys, Brandon Ayuk is on the board. He's probably not going to play for us this year. He was waiting for the draft to try to see if anybody wanted to trade for Brandon Ayuk. And then there's a report that Adam Schefter put out today about Brandon Ayuk is that the problem with Brandon Ayuk is he's not answering his phone for anybody, not for teams, not for anybody that's associated with the 49ers. And so that's the problem you have. And I think that the Commanders are probably numero uno to get Brandon Ayuk once he's released. But the 49ers want to get a draft pick for him. So they're going to hold on him because there's a lot of implications on contract if they release him before June 1st. But come June 1st, he's gone. And then once he's gone, I think Commanders will probably get the first shot at him. And that's probably why the Commanders probably went slot receiver. They kind of know. Jaden Daniels has his phone number. I guarantee you if Jaden Daniels called Brandon Ayuk on the phone, Brandon Ayuk is picking up the phone. All these other teams can forget it, and I think the risk you have. What's that? Go ahead, Tony.
He can't reach out right now while he's under contract, right?
No team can reach out. No team can reach out.
Daniels can't even reach out because that's kind of
absolutely, absolutely. They're friends. They're best friends. So Jaden Daniels can reach out and say, "Yo, what's up, homie? What's going on? How you feeling?" Now
he got to keep it.
Because player to player is not a problem. He can say, "Yo, you ready for that June 1st release? What's up?" Yeah, you know what it is. You know what it is. All right, cool. So they can have a conversation player to player because they're best friends. But the team can't reach out to him. But I got a feeling come in another month you're going to see him being released possibly, and he will be released. And no team want to trade for him because it's not a guarantee that he will go to that team or report. Because if he's willing to get away $30 million, for not reporting to the San Francisco 49ers, that other team is not going to want to take that risk either. So I think the Commanders are in a decent position. I think I'm happy with what we did on defense this year and with free agency. So I think we're going to be able to move on and hopefully, get back into the top 1 or 2 in the NFC East, although Philly had an excellent draft too. So, I'm a little disappointed that, Philly had a great draft. Okay. I don't want to hear about the Philadelphia Eagles because we know that they're really good at drafting great players. Right. And that brings us to the LA Rams. Okay. The LA Rams decided that, we have a MVP quarterback in Matthew Stafford. But what we want to do is we want to draft our quarterback for the future. And we believe that Ty Simpson is that guy. So we're going to move up to number 13 in the NFL draft to grab a Ty Simpson. Forget about what the Cardinals is going to do because we know if he goes to the second round, the Cardinals are going to grab him and we're not going to get a chance to get Ty Simpson. But, a lot of things about Ty Simpson. One, he's only 6'1". Didn't have a really great year last year. First half of the season, he was pretty good. Last half of the season, he wasn't good. And Alabama's team wasn't good in general last year. The running game was ranked like the bottom of the NFL last year, Alabama was. So Ty Simpson, he jumps up and he goes to the Rams that don't need a quarterback at this point. And so now 13 overall, Tony, was this a reach for the LA Rams, and why do you think he went this high?
Well, I mean, I think they do need a quarterback, just one. But they needed first round. Yeah, they didn't need first round. Well, it all comes back to the nepotism and dad knowing a coach on the team and stuff like that, or whatever. However it went, that's the reason why he got drafted at that point. Because there's no other reason. But when it comes to like Shador and Deion Sanders, it's an issue. We get you know the stats side by side. The stats don't even line up, and this dude went in the first round, and Shador should have won in the first round. All the analysts last year said Shador should have won in the first round. Then this guy gets the pass. I wonder why. I mean, wonder what that means. I mean, it's crazy how these things work with certain quarterbacks and stuff like that. But I feel like Ty Simpson could be an okay quarterback under this coaching. I mean, we don't know if the coach is going to stay there because they're saying he was picked because they don't know about the future for the coach. I mean, the coach.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and remember, they still got Stetson Bennett. They still have Stetson Bennett there too.
I don't think the coach wanted him. I really don't think, because he was like picking quarterback with the, it's a whole bunch of skits out there about guys. Like, it's funny skits out there, but I don't think he should have been 13 overall. Just to answer your question, I feel like it's nepotism and stuff like that. But when it works for certain people, but don't work for others, just say that.
Well, I mean, I thank you for that. I mean, I think that if you're looking at the Ty Simpson situation, I think overall, no, he shouldn't have been picked at 13. And I think that was a big time reach. And obviously, his father is a coach. Ty Simpson's father is a coach and things of that nature. I don't think that he's a 13 overall talent at quarterback. I think that he probably would have been well situated maybe somewhere in the second round, right? But with the lack of quarterbacks in this draft, I think that what the GM was saying of the Rams is that, hey, every year Matthew Stafford has a back injury. Last year, we didn't know if he was going to make it the start of the season. The guy's 38 years old. It's always a question mark. And if he gets hurt. Now, with all that being said, all he did was have an MVP season. He was the league MVP last year at quarterback. He was phenomenal. But, with all the not knowing whether he's going to come back, whether he's going to retire, his injury possibilities, you have to get a guy, right? And you've got Stetson Bennett on the team, and you've got Garoppolo, who said he's going to retire, right? And because he's not being used up at all. And so now I think you go, all right, well, we're going to reach over here and grab Ty Simpson. I think it was an overreaction. I don't think that he's going to be a great NFL quarterback, to be honest with you. And I think that, I mean, if you're comparing him to Shador Sanders and where Shador should have went versus a Ty Simpson, I think definitely Shador Sanders was a better quarterback. And there's no way Ty Simpson was going to go in the fifth round, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that you might be onto something there, Tony, when you start to talk about, the Ty Simpson overreach versus them letting Shador Sanders slide the fifth round last year.
Yeah, because he couldn't even beat out Milroe, he couldn't beat out Milroe in Alabama. Nope. So it's like,
he was like a third or fourth string quarterback at one point, right?
Yeah. So it's like, how do you all of a sudden get this fast track to, first round pick to the team you want to go to? LA, being in LA, that's a nice place to be, stuff like that. Like, how can you anyway? I'm gonna leave that there before I go off even deeper.
All right. So, I mean, I get it. I understand it. And so that was your surprise of the draft right there, because I kind of just put there, was that everybody's surprise? Ty Simpson going there. Did anything else in this draft surprise you, just with overall how things kind of fell in like the first 10 picks?
Well, I wouldn't say 10. Well, the surprise obviously was the Tate to Tennessee. But the late round surprise was the Taylor Green to the Browns. That surprised me. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, we got another quarterback now. Now we got a whole other, we got four quarterbacks again. And what's going to happen now? Does Dylan Gabriel get traded? Does he get cut? Like, what's going on? Like, because it's going to be Dylan Gabriel is the odd man out. Like, anybody want to debate that? Because I'm like, I don't see any room for. I don't even know why you would go into training camp with four quarterbacks, because we know he's not the guy. So go to Atlanta, go.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think one of my surprises is obviously, Dallas trading back with the Philadelphia Eagles. and letting the Eagles get a wide receiver of their choosing, which was crazy in division trade. All right, and you let them maneuver themselves, and they get up and get a wide receiver to replace AJ Brown, because I think he's as good as gone now with all the receivers that the Philadelphia Eagles have on the team. And so I think that when you start to look at that, I think that was a they get Mekhi Lemon. The Eagles get Mekhi Lemon, and the Dallas Cowboys have said, okay, we'll let you come up. We'll get a couple of extra picks, but we're going to let you get Mekhi Lemon. Now, meanwhile, you have to play this team twice a year and deal with Mekhi Lemon. Now, if he burns your socks off, okay, you're going to be looking back at this trade and say, man, we shouldn't let them get Mekhi Lemon, because he is a really good player, slot receiver that can do everything with the ball in his hands. And then, of course, you make a in division trade with the Philadelphia Eagles. So that really was a shock to me. And the other shock to me was Desmond Bain. Desmond Bain, he falls all the way down to 15 to the Buccaneers. And you got a guy there at Desmond Bain who is a heck of a football player. And then all of a sudden, he's supposed to go top 10. And then he falls all the way down. This guy is a baller. He's 6'2", 263 pounds as rusher, and he can play. And in the playoffs, he was just phenomenal overall. And so now he gets the number 15, and now you've got Tampa Bay sitting there saying to themselves, they didn't think he was ever going to be there. I think he had like a 2 or 3% chance on being at number 15, and he's got an 89 overall grade. To his position rank is is number 2 at edge. All right. So now they get him, and I think they get a heck of a football player. He doesn't even have to leave the state of Florida, just go right up the road to Tampa Bay in Central Florida. And so now I think it's really cool that Tampa Bay got a really good guy, top 5 player at number 15. And they talk about short arms. They talk about all this and all that. But I think look for Ruben Bain, to make some noise with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that was my big surprise there too. And also the Dallas Cowboys trading with the Philadelphia Eagles, let them come up to get their wide receivers. So I just don't understand it, right? And so and so we're gonna turn the page a little bit from the draft and talk a little bit about the NBA. So I gotta tell you, I'm shocked, brother. I am shocked. Are the Cleveland Cavaliers in trouble because this series is tied 2-2 with the Raptors? And you've got a James Harden that become a turnover magnet in this series. He had 8 turnovers the last game. He had 7 turnovers the game before, with the Raptors. And I haven't watched all the games with the Cavs because I didn't think I needed to watch this Cavs series, to be honest with you. Come on, I didn't need to watch this Cavs series. I just needed to sit back and let the Cavs handle their business. But now it's 2-2, and it's the best of 3. As the Cavs fan, Tony, what do you think about that?
Well, I had the Cavs sweeping, just to get that out there. Yeah. So I even bet on it. I even bet on Cashy. That they were sweet. It wasn't a lot of money. I just threw something on it to see what happens. But watching the first 2 games, they look spectacular because they're home. They got the home cooking and the home sleep in your own bed type stuff and stuff like that. They go on the road, and everything just fell apart so far. So I'm like, they can't. Harden can't get over 20 points a game. Turn the ball over. Nobody can play defense. And I don't know if it's just because
all of a sudden,
yeah. So that's what it makes it. I know this is not it, but I always like, it's rigged, right? I always want it because it's my team. I want to say it's rigged, right? But I feel like it kind of sometimes look that way because of they want the series to go to 7 or longer so they can get more money, but they just kicking our butt. I mean, they coming out, they looked at what they did in the first 2 games in Cleveland. They came home, was like, they're not coming in our house and doing nothing, pretty much. We're not letting Harden do this. We're not letting Mitchell do this, this and that. They took away our best players and making everybody else beat us.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I see. But I feel like once we go back to Cleveland, we'll get back in on track. Hopefully, we'll get back on track, cut down on the turnovers and stuff like that. And I feel like we got to get some other guys going too. Get the bigs going, do some more lobs to the rim and stuff like that, and dribble, penetrate versus taking all these 3-point shots. That Mitchell and they do when they're missing, they're it just throws the team off. But when they're making, it's obviously good. But I feel like sometimes when they're missing, they keep shooting and keep shooting instead of just going to the cup to see the ball go in and get a foul call and stuff like that, or get somebody else involved. But I feel like we should be fine. We should close it out in 6. That's what I think. But I could be wrong. Can go 7 too. So,
well, you got the Boston Celtics out there looking to close out tonight, the Philadelphia 76ers, and they're just sitting back, getting all this rest. You got Jason Tatum back. You start to look at this, how this everything is going here, and you say to yourself, man, if Cleveland can't beat Toronto, how they beat a team possibly like the New York Knicks or the Boston Celtics in the East? And you've got this Orlando Magic team also, showing up and showing out, over the the number 1 seed Pistons too. And so that is probably the most incredible thing that I've seen. All of a sudden, the Pistons can't do anything. They shooting all these threes. Cade, it's bad. Up 3-1 on Magic, up 3-1. A play-in team on the number 1 seed, and I think that this is one of the most shocking things that I've seen so far in the playoffs. Your Cavs get a little bit off the hook now because they at least tied the series, right? The series is now tied, so they have it. But you got a number 1 seed about to go down. It's they got to win 3 straight in order to for the upset not to happen.
Well, for us, we started off 2-0, so it's worse because we let them win 2 straight. But the Magic are a very good team. The last few years they played us very well. Like every time we play them, the Magic are tough. Like they have a deep squad and they all play tough. Like they're like blue collar players and stuff like that, just like the Pistons. But I feel like when Cade Cunningham had that collapsed lung, he's still working his way back. So he's not fully 100%. Because I guess a collapsed lung, I'm sure it takes a while for him to get back to a game, like to MVP caliber. He was almost in the MVP category before he got hurt and stuff like that. The collapsed lung, and like going into the playoffs and trying to dealing with the rigors of like getting hit and like getting pulled, just all the different things that happens in a playoff game. It could be taking a toll, or just other people aren't stepping up and stuff like that. But I just feel like the Magic, they went and got Desmond Bane, and since they added him, they've been playing pretty solid. I mean, they had him the whole season.
They're playing bully ball. They're pushing the Pistons around, which I'm shocked. I'm shocked that they're playing bully ball. I mean, Bonchero, he's out there, he's balling, and it was a crazy dunk yesterday. That was crazy. It's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm saying to myself, man, the Pistons, during the regular season, I mean, they were beating up on everybody, and now the playoffs, like you say, I don't start watching really the NBA until like the last couple of weeks of the season into the playoffs, because now you look at this. People don't realize that the Magic has been playing playoff basketball, from the play-in tournament on, and that they found their rhythm, and then the matchup problems that they're creating is incredible. And I think that, the Pistons, I don't think they're going to win 3 straight. I think the Magic is going to win this game, and I think they're going to go on to play in the next round, because I don't think the Pistons are going to win 3 straight.
Yeah, I don't think they don't have a LeBron James on their team to like will them to win. I mean, it's possible now. Like if they win this next game, that can get them chipping away. But it's the way the Magic are playing. I think they have them by the gonads, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
They got to keep their foot on their neck, though. The Magic don't do what the Warriors did, or don't do what the Oklahoma City Thunder did to the Warriors back in the day, up 3-1 and let the foot off the gas, and then came back and won. So
I think it's going to be interesting to see that. Now, can the Lakers close out the Rockets on Wednesday night? I think that, they have to. I think they have to close out. They got to beat the Rockets on Wednesday night. They can't let the Rockets off the hook. And if they do, you go back to Houston again, for that game. But if you let Houston steal a game and get this series back to 3-1, 3-2, excuse me, and then right now, the problem that the Lakers have is that guess who's rested right now? All right, Oklahoma came into to Phoenix last night and extinguished the Suns. Right, they put the Suns to bed. So now they're sitting back home just chilling, sipping on Coronas. And now they just sipping on Coronas. And so the longer that this series go, right, it's less rest for LeBron James. You got to remember LeBron James is 41 years old, right? So, the rest, he can't go right into this series, with Oklahoma City not rested and having to battle out the Rockets without Kevin Durant, right? And so now, if the Rockets win this game, this series is extended even longer, and you got a rested OK City that took care of business, and now they just sitting there just chilling, waiting for the Lakers to close it out. So also Kevin Durant, this is really bad look for him because he can't even come in and help his team. But Austin Reeves, I heard, might play tomorrow night, and that's the key. But the Lakers should not play Austin Reeves tomorrow night. They should let him continue to get to heal, and if they can close them out tomorrow, Austin Reeves get that much more rest, right, before he has to come back and play a tough Oklahoma City. Now, let's be honest. The Lakers are not beating Oklahoma City. Period. Point blank. Stop.
Well, I will go back to the Houston game. I feel like when you look at the last game they played, they lost 115-96, right? Aiden cannot be your leading scorer. 19 points. LeBron is my favorite player. And I still give him his criticism when it's due. 10 points, 2 of 9 shooting, 8 turnovers. You can't. LeBron about to come out and ball out this next game. He's looking to close out, and he's probably gonna have like 30 plus in this game to close out.
You think he's gonna close it out tomorrow night?
Yeah, calling it. LeBron 30, almost a triple double, 30-point triple double.
Wow.
Close out.
I don't know. These young guys, they might play better without Kevin Durant. And now that if they know Kevin Durant's not coming, that's not playing, and they can't, because sometimes, with these superstars, when they play, everybody's standing around feeding Kevin Durant the ball, and they're not playing their game. But if you know that a Kevin Durant is not going to be in the game and give you those points, now you got your young team start to contribute more. And Kevin Durant is not a front runner. Kevin Durant is not a front runner.
That's what I was telling you about before. Like when before he came to Houston, they were a good team. Just like the Warriors were a good team. Just like the Warriors were a good team. They didn't need him, but he's a great player. He's a great shooter. Don't get me wrong. But they were a good team without him. So it's not surprising to me to see him play the way Houston played the way they're playing. So it's not surprising. So they have the guys. They just gotta just do what they do.
Yeah, you can't give this team confidence if you're the Lakers. You got to close them out at home, and the Lakers should handle business. But these young guys, like I said, without Kevin Durant, it forces them to use the bench a little bit more, to go a little bit down the bench. And these young players now have to step up without Kevin Durant, knowing that they don't have to feed the ball to Kevin Durant. They can now play their game, and so they just got to be careful. They got to close this game out. The last game we're going to talk about is the Denver Nuggets, all right, and when the T-Wolves, the Denver's back in this series again after down 3-1. They get a big win last night. Jokic get his triple double, and he's third now in playoff triple doubles behind LeBron James. All right, and I think I think the other triple double person is, I forget who it is in the playoffs. It might be Magic or whatever, but that's heck of a company to be in. And he's third in triple doubles in the playoffs. And if he wins this series, he probably could take over the most triple doubles in the playoffs in history of basketball. So he is that guy. But I was a little bit disappointed to see that the Denver Nuggets, with the injuries to DiVincenzo and who else? Edwards, Anthony Edwards. They're both injured, and for the Denver Nuggets to lose the game, the other night with those guys going down, it was total disappointment. So they had to come back last night, win the game, and now they're down 3-2. And you know what? Denver can win 3 straight, especially without DiVincenzo with the torn Achilles now. And then you got Anthony Edwards with a hyperextended knee. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Without those two guys, the T-Wolves and Gobert has been, giving Jokic a little bit of a problem in this series. But I don't think that the T-Wolves can beat the Denver Nuggets without their two big guns. And when Murray starts to go out there, and Murray hasn't really had a great series either. He's been really not himself for some reason, but I think that they're going to come back and win 2 games. I think Denver wins this series over the T-Wolves. And this one more thing. If Denver loses to the T-Wolves without DiVincenzo and Anthony Edwards, I think that there's going to be some serious issues in Denver. Conversations in Denver about the way the team is constructed and everything like that, because you can't lose this series when you got the T-Wolves down their 2 best players.
Yeah, well, I mean, they let their coach go, the coach that they won a championship with, and but that's another conversation. But I have Denver pulling it out because of the injuries. When you have Edwards out, that's a big blow to the Timberwolves. I mean, the reason why Denver won this game because they figured out what they did in the previous game when Edwards was out and they lost. They figured out like, okay, let's do some things differently and stuff like that. And they restructured some things, and now I think they have a good path to winning this series. I feel like Denver should be. They have a chance to go to the final. I mean, just because of Jokic. I mean, Jokic is a great player. He's not flashy, he's not fast, but he knows how to contribute and make the team better. That's what I like about him because, anybody that can share the ball, still put up 30 points a game, rebound and stuff like that. Those are the kind of players I like. So that's why that's why I'm a LeBron fan. So
yeah, and everybody's talking about, well, Jokic is this, he's not, he hasn't did this. I mean, come on, man. This guy is the best player in the world. Okay, mm-hmm. I think he's the best player in the world, even over Shea. But it's a debate. But I think they go back 1 and 2 in the world as we speak today.
Yeah.
And I think Jokic is going to have this team ready to play. I think they win this series and come back. But I think if Anthony Edwards and DiVincenzo wasn't hurt, I think the T-Wolves would win this series, and they were in the driver's seat. And I have never seen anything like it with 2 stars of a team go down in the playoffs, and then they're going to give this series back to Denver potentially.
Even with DiVincenzo, if he was just there, I think they would have still won. Because he's a different kind of guy.
Because Edwards had been hurt this year, and they've won without him. But you take those 2 off the court, I think you're asking this T-Wolves team to do a lot. Now they did do it. When they got injured, they won that game with both of those guys injured in the first half. But I don't think it's just too much. Now Denver can prepare to play them without their 2 stars. And I think you saw that last night, even though that the T-Wolves didn't go out quietly. I don't think they have enough juice to beat a Denver team, even though that Denver hasn't really played their best basketball yet. And so, yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, buddy. So what you got planned for the rest of the week? I think both of our wives are out of town. So we're just sitting there. Too bad, man. We're not in the same city because, we might hit the bars or something. I don't know, buddy, but
hit the bars. You don't drink that much anymore.
I don't drink, man. Anymore.
I try not to.
I just post up and chill. Post up and chill. OG stuff.
Yeah, well, all I've been doing is working, with my getting the kids to practice, baseball practice. My 6-year-old is in baseball, hitting switch. He's a switch hitter in baseball. They had a win this last Saturday. He had somebody had a walk-off home run. It was T-ball, so he got hit past all the players and went all the way back to the fence.
Nice.
So it was a walk-off home run. So we were all jumping up and down. So
that's pretty cool.
And my oldest son is in swim practice and stuff like that. Getting stronger and stuff like that. So I'm just doing daddy duties, young kids and stuff like that. So it's fun.
Yeah, I got a little one. I got a not so little one. She's 17. She's got the prom this week, and wife's not here, so it's like all right, well, they want to get their nails done, their toes done, and they want to do all this stuff, get the hair looking all good and stuff. And so what it is, right? This is not my first rodeo, so so yeah, that's kind of like my week there. Just kind of just making sure everything maintained here while mom is away, and and so we'll see what happens there, man. All right, man. It's been real, man. We got to wrap this show up, man. I think we got some some good insight on the draft and things of that nature. And if your favorite team, we're gonna see. But, this draft thing is always exciting. Kind of gets our juices flowing again. And now we're back on the NBA. You might see us next week or whatever, talking a little bit about the NBA and some other little things. But other than that, man, this has been great. So Tony, thanks for chiming in. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, see you guys on the other side. Peace.
Fading love in this crazy life race. And Lonnie and friends, you'll always have a place. So as we close this chapter.